G'day, this is Dan Barrett from UND 65. Today I'm going to be talking to you about right to inform. So essentially the right to inform as a union comes really from the strike mandate, and where you're actually in a strike situation, you have the right to inform individuals of why you're on strike. And so that's the hardcore version of the right to inform. So when you're when there's a picket line formed, for example, if somebody runs through that picket line or breaks through or whatever, what they're actually doing is they're violating your right to inform. So you essentially have the right to go up to somebody on a picket line, if you're the picket captain, to go up to the person, say, pulling up a car to a picket line, and you have the right to inform that individual why there's a strike going on and what the issues are and stuff like that. So that right sort of extends. So PSAC has a page up since about 2013, and it kind of goes over some of the extensions of that right to inform and how it impacts stuff. So I'm just going to read some of it because I know the lighting's not the best. So reading union literature, for example. Okay, members can also sign petitions and share information about the union's campaigns during non-work time. So that's before work, after work, lunch. Members can talk to coworkers about the union at work as they would any other subject, and help keep everyone informed about PSAC. So this is water cooler talk stuff. We're not talking about basically long, in-depth discussions about issues, but if you're trying to do it just a quick poll, and you need to touch base with some people as you encounter them, if you want to bounce it off of them as a representative, that's totally legit. Handouts and leaflets before and after work, so members can distribute material outside or inside the workplace, even if the entrance is in a commercial area. Members have a legal right to engage in this activity. The employer is prohibited from interfering with these lawful union activities. Desk drops, on the other hand, members can drop information at members' workstations provided they have permission from the employer. So the union may distribute publications and reflect the union's perspective on workplace issues as long as the information is accurate and non-defamatory. This is a great way to invite members to information sessions, provide updates on union business, and recruit new volunteers. Posting information on union bulletin boards. This is like collective agreements generally allow members to use workplace bulletin boards for unions. I'm going to go through that in a few minutes. And make these boards communication centers for the union. By keeping them up to date, remember to include contact information for local representatives. So for this building, it's out by the cafeteria. Other workstations, workplaces, just check where you actually have this stuff located. For some of the remote satellites, the majority of that information up on the website. So you should have access to that. And if you don't, let us know. Next one is wearing the union messages. So that's the t-shirts and stuff. So that's probably why we're talking about April 2013 when this was actually posted. That was a big change. Members can now wear buttons, lanyards like the one I got, stickers, t-shirts, and other items that communicate the union message. Even if members wear a uniform, there are ways to wear a union message. So when you look at the collective agreement, primarily the main articles there, collective agreement, purpose and scope, these things are not grievable, but they're essential to understanding why we do consultation and how that is supposed to be working out here. So purpose of the agreement is to maintain harmonious and mutually beneficial relationships. That's basically management labor stuff. You need to be harmonious, working on the same page. You can disagree, but it needs to be done respectfully. So the bottom line on that whole thing is a lot of management, they're looking at efficiency, trying to get stuff done quick. The union, on the other hand, is looking at effectiveness, trying to do it the best way so that our members can be paid appropriately for the work that they do, and that your workplace is challenging and rewarding. Second one there, that parties to the agreement share a desire to improve the quality of the public service. So again, this is the, you know, defining the quality of the public. That's very subjective stuff, and you know, the management may have a particular perspective, and you have the folks on doing the actual work. There's a lot of opportunity to do innovations and stuff that helps people do their job, and that kind of stuff needs to be transmitted. Best practices need to be shared, and that's, you know, to ensure that, you know, you have quality public services. And if you have a good quality public service, that's more likely, you're more likely to be in a secure position if you're providing quality public service. So again, going through some of the PA clauses, similar language exists in the other agreements for the local, but 12.01 in the collective agreement, reasonable space on bulletin boards. This is a right, okay? So you're supposed to have bulletin boards in the workplace, and if you don't, then you need to kind of make sure that you have that arranged. In convenient locations, including electronic bulletin boards. So how you define electronic bulletin boards, this is very key. 12.02, the big one here, is quantities of literature of the Alliance to be made available at the workplace in designated areas. The employer acknowledges the right of the Alliance to appoint or otherwise select employees. Now you're into Article 13 here, and you know, this is the whole point of, you know, management's not going to be appointing people, right? Now, if there's the Article 13.02, it kind of deals a little bit more. You know, you try and look at jurisdiction, make sure it's reasonable, and all that kind of good stuff. If the employer has a big problem with that, then you know, use the grievance process to whatever fix it. That's what this article is talking about. Now, again, as a representative, some of these clauses are specifically, you know, intended primarily for the steward, but as a representative, you have similar types of roles, and as such, use them, right? So here in Article 13.04, representative shall obtain the permission of his or her immediate supervisor before leaving his or her work to investigate employee complaints. So if you have an issue that you know, again, this stuff is, as a representative, you may have a particular issue that you need to address, and it could be priority identified by the union, could be a priority identified from some of your coworkers, and you know, as soon as it goes into writing, it's a complaint. Even if it's only given to you, whether that member wants to give it to management, that's another matter. But basically, as soon as you put something in writing, it's a complaint. So this is why you see a lot of within our orientation system and the committee meetings, you're going to see some of the stuff, some of the complaints that folks are making, because that allows us to kind of do an investigation assessment of what's actually going on and leave our work to come to a particular meeting and get stuff done and essentially resolve issues, which is within the interest of the organization to make sure that it's functioning properly. So that's 13.04, and that's the key line that you guys need to be looking at. 13.05, employers' formal orientation program. So this is the big one. So representatives, you know, the Alliance shall have the opportunity to have an employee representative introduced to new employees as part of the employer's formal orientation program where they exist. So 13.05, that's the big one, and that's where you know, we have an employer formal orientation program, and essentially what we've been doing for the number of years is providing members the opportunity to meet their new members, and as the reps change, again, new members come in, and management, you know, in the interest of effectively operating the organization, has extended that. So a lot of our meetings are set up for give opportunities for new members to meet us in conjunction with the orientation program, and that's why you see those little 10-minute orientation sessions before we do our committee meetings. The parties acknowledge the mutual benefits delivered by joint consultation are prepared to enter into discussion aimed at the development and introduction of appropriate machinery for the purpose of providing joint consultation on matters of common interest. So within 5 days of notification of consultation served by either party, the Alliance shall notify the employer in writing of the representatives authorized to act on its behalf and the Alliance for consultation purposes. So at the local level, this is a bit of a stretch, but bottom line is it's not unreasonable if the whole freaking department can respond to somebody in 5 days, that your local manager can respond in 5 days. So bottom line, that's the standard that we're going after. And so when you're looking at trying to set a meeting with the employer, give them at least 5 days or with your manager, give them at least 5 days to actually set up a meeting. Similarly, upon request, either party to this agreement shall consult meaningfully, and that's a big one. Meaningfully basically means I'm not going to dictate to you what's supposed to be happening. We're consulting in a collaborative manner in order to come up with either a novel solution or implement some best practice from some other sort of arrangement at an appropriate level. So you're at your supervisory level, at your manager level, at your director type level, wherever. To contemplate changes in conditions of employment or working conditions not governed by this agreement. So that's basically your O group type stuff and how you guys actually function. Again, it's to be innovative and to basically to ensure that we have quality public service. So I hope this has been useful for you folks to give you an idea of the right to inform and why it's there. And I encourage you guys to exercise that right and inform the members and, for that matter, inform management of what's actually going on in the workplace so that we have quality public services and are harmonious and mutually beneficial organization. Thank you.